The judiciary is an integral part of any government. As an arm of government recognized by the Nigerian constitution, it consists of the bar and the bench. Its role cannot be overemphasized as it is assigned, besides other justice administration functions, the task of determining the powers conferred on other arms of government, calling them to order in cases of wrongful exercise of those powers. But how much progress has been recorded by this arm since independence?
No, I won't say the judiciary has failed. I would say the executive has failed the judiciary. Because if the executive is enforcing or executing, then they should execute in a fit and proper manner.
The doctrine of separation of powers also demands that the judiciary ensures every exercise of power by other arms of government is in accordance with the rule of law. To what extent has the judiciary performed this role?
There is no court in the world today in any democratic setup that will tell you that they pick and choose on which court order to follow. Why the present government should refuse to obey court order in granting the Suku bill. I am not going to hold any brief for the federal government. I believe they are wrong because the rule of law is clear that if the court grants you bail and it's a bailable offense, Shikena, you must be allowed to go.
Given the moral burden that duty confers on this arm in determining the fate of individuals, groups and government bodies in legal matters, the bench is expected to be above board. But recently, it has been caught in the web of corruption, resulting in arrests, trials and some acquittals, putting to question the very idea of equity and fairness in justice delivery.
We're not saying judges are above the law, but we're saying that there has to be a process that will be followed where a judge is suspected or accused of having done something against the law. Because if you treat judges just like every other person, then the executive has carte blanche. So if a judge is deciding a case in a manner that the executive finds unpleasant or uncomfortable, all they have to do then is send the DSS in there, break down his door, say we found money here, and that judge, that's the end of that case. Now, if the judges know that they're subject to that potential threat, there goes their independence.
The handling of high-profile cases that border on public interest, issues of lengthy trials arising from frequent adjournment of cases, and attitudes of lawyers, among other shortcomings, continue to put the judiciary under the spotlight.
We are trying, but we are not there yet. There are still some issues. Ethical education issues concerning the behavior outside the court and the conduct of legal practitioners are still a problem for us. Let me say this. Every judge, before he accepts to serve as a judge, must have done some soul searching, or ought to have done some soul searching. If you are lily-livered and you cannot look parties in the face and stand by your conscience as you have sworn before God and under the Constitution to do justice, then you should not be on the bench.
So how did we get here, you might ask? Is judicial independence merely a slogan? As we look to the future, especially ahead of the coming election year, it is expected that ongoing reforms in the judiciary will produce a system that Nigerians will have confidence in as the defender of the defenseless and the rule of law.